Imagine not knowing that you have a profitable business because it's cash poor, because you don't have any boundaries. You treat the business resources as if they were a no interest, no repayment pot of cash. Or worse yet, imagine that thinking that you have a profitable business because there is cash there when you need it. You're listening to the Unshackle Your Life podcast with Debbie Colburn, the place to break through all of the hidden things that hold each of us back, things that scare us and things that challenge us, and things we're just plain fed up with. We talk all things money and business, big and small. We dive deep, we get real, and we get raw, discovering and exploring what is really possible for you. It's a restart. If you've ever struggled with shame, worry, or just plain self-doubt, if you've ever thought it's not enough when you looked at your bank account or your credit card, if you're sick and tired of living a cycle of crisis to crisis to crisis, no matter whether it's in your personal life, in your business, or your relationships, then this is where you need to be. We'll bring you new ideas, tips, and tactics, and connect you to the resources to get you unlocking your own shackles and release your unique abilities. No matter what's going on in your life right now, maybe you're in survival mode, just barely getting by, living day-to-day, paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're in a job or a career or running a business that is leaving you on empty, depleted, uninspired, or anything in between. I've got your back. Ready? So buckle on up, take a deep breath, and join me in a conversation about jumpstarting your life and breaking free of your shackles and create that thing that you've been scared to ask for. Welcome to episode 92. It's a commingled mess. You can't tell what expenses belong to your business and what is personal. Whenever you need money, you just transfer it from your business account to yours. Now, let's not even mention that credit card usage, and you are not alone. In my many, many years as a professional accountant, this was more likely to be the norm than the unusual. And sometimes it didn't even matter how big the company was, what the scale of the revenue was. So why am I talking about this today? Well, I'm sure you've heard the term codependent before. I know when I interviewed Roman Garcia, he talked about it. So make sure that if you haven't listened to that episode, you go back and do so. It was mid-fall, like early November's-ish, and we'll post the episode number in the notes. And codependency is pretty common in people pleasers, in unhealthy relationships. Now, at its core, it means the relationship is one-sided. And that's where I'm going with this. Imagine that your business is a living and a breathing thing. It has a heartbeat. Are you giving it everything it needs to survive and thrive and grow? Or is it always living on life support? Is it in the ICU for business? Well, this is a get real moment, and believe me when I say I've been there more than once, because everything I talk about, money blocks, self-sabotages, beliefs, those stories we tell ourselves, process, all those things, they show up in and they affect our businesses as much as they do our personal lives. And they actually impact our careers and our jobs too. And here's what all this means. You depend on your business to give you money, get you out of any jam. And if it needs money, fuel, you simply don't have the financial resources, or any resources actually, to bail your business out. And I bet you can think of more than one example from that from the last 2 years of the pandemic. Maybe yourself. maybe someone in your family, maybe some of your coworkers, maybe even just something you've seen on the media. That's a codependent relationship with your business, and it is unhealthy. Now, if that sounds like you, I've got some jewels for you. As I was getting ready to record this podcast and to create it, and I sit down and sometimes I just walk to Tim Hortons, sometimes I go for a walk in the bush, sometimes I just sit, and sometimes an episode will just accidentally come to me. But in this case, I was sitting down to try and create a graphic for the core pieces that make up the critical backbone of my business. Because obviously, I'm not pulling all this stuff out of my head. It's stuff that has worked for me, and that's why I share it, because how I've put it together is what's really working for me. So I looked for the things over the last number of years that I've implemented that turned everything around for me and that I'm still using today and that are really working. And those things, they literally set me free from being codependent on my business. I had no clue I had a codependent relationship. I knew I had an unhealthy relationship. And so I've got these together for you, and that I know that they're going to help you, even if you don't have a business. Now, honestly, I love to see most people have some sort of a business. It can be a big formal one. It can be your only thing, or it can be a hobby business. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby business, as long as it's a healthy hobby business. Even if you're doing it alongside a career or a job or retirement that you're loving, a little side hustle. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's great to have a side hustle. But here's the thing. Imagine not knowing that you have a profitable business. Because every time you look at it, it's cash poor. Because you don't have any boundaries. You treat the business resources as if they were a no interest, no repayment pot of cash. Or worse yet, imagine thinking that you have a profitable business because there's cash there when you need it. But your business is slowly, quietly failing. Anyone ever watched Dragon's Den or Shark's Tank? There's more than a couple of examples of this. I've been figuring out this money thing for a long time, and I've still got a long way to go. It's a never-ending process. And I resisted having process and discipline in my business, actually in my life, for years, except when I was in my professional accountant business consultant role. When that's what I was being paid for, or when accidentally one day I came to do my work on my own business and I happened to be in that role. Why? Because it feels hard. It feels restrictive. It makes me unhappy. When I don't have variety, uncertainty, challenges, and adventure. Now, all those things, those were all my choices. Just saying that. And it is very possible. So what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to show you that no matter how hard that feels, there are ways and there are things out there that you can use that are in sync with your own core values. And you might have to work through some of those things too to find a way to do business in alignment with your core values. I literally was fighting those because I just wanted to be free, to be liberated, to do whatever the hell I wanted. Didn't work. I had to have process and system in order to be able to do what I wanted. What has worked for me is to pull pieces from these 6 programs I'm going to talk about and create my own system that's elevated both my personal and my business life and allows me to have an independent and a supportive relationship with my business. And I know, if you're a business owner, you probably felt that you were living in business mode way too much over the past 2 years working from home. often diving into work mode to avoid yet another game of Monopoly or a Zoom call again. Right. Because it becomes a protective shield, a way to avoid having to do that other stuff, because doing business sometimes is easy, like doing mundane crap. So here goes. And I hope this is helpful to you, because I know that there are a lot of people out there with relationships with their businesses and their careers and new jobs. I'm going to keep saying that suffer from this, and I want to try and help you out a little bit. So underlying everything I do is Brendon Burchard's guidance. It's smart, it's sensible, it's strategic, and it's human. The concept of being a good human and creating your own energy and joy. There are days when I'm struggling with something and I just tell myself, this is something that I actually do. I say in my head, I need a little Brendon. And I can always find a video or a quote or a training that's exactly what I need. It's kind of hard to describe what he does. He's one of the top motivational speakers in the world, but so many people haven't heard of him. He is an online marketing expert. He's a writer, an author, a speaker, but he has a message that has always resonated with me, and he used frameworks. And I suggest you just check him out, because it is really and truly, it is the foundation behind everything for me. And I know if you just Google Brendon Burchard and the word YouTube, and you will find something that you can use right now. Nudges. The things I know today, the things I do, even some of these 6 pieces came to me by following Tom Bilyeu of Impact Theory. Now, just to tell you something, here's how things link together. Tom Bilyeu now is part of Brendon Burchard's high-end mastermind. And many of the things that I've followed and learned came from Tom. Now, he is not for everyone. I'm just going to say that up front. There isn't anybody out there that's for everyone. But I love and I've always loved this style, this in-your-face style. He doesn't pull any punches. And he's an interviewer that is as good as, if not better than, the late Larry King. He lives to the future. He's always looking out into the future. He's honest. And he's one of my longtime mentors with exceptional guidance into the heart of a business and on the power of a growth mindset. Yes, that's a cliche term, but it's all about being curious, always being willing to learn, and fast decision making. That is one thing I can say 100% for sure. I have changed as a result of following some of the things that he does. Inspiration and knowledge. As I wandered through my money crisis years, that path led me to Denise Duffield-Thomas. She's the creator of Money Bootcamp. And ladies and gentlemen, a true testament to how you can evolve if you have a vision and a mission. Her 3 books and her course, they are probably way too woo-woo for some people. I can tell you, if I had stumbled on her pre-2009, I would have run away screaming. Sometimes it's too simple for others, and for me, it was exactly the thing that I was looking for. It literally tied everything together for me, and that's what you'll find. Some things are, let's call them pods all on their own, and other things are the links. They're like the spider web that holds everything together, but a smart spider web, not just a random spider web. And if you've ever looked at a spider web, you'll know that it's extremely intelligent. It's strategic, it's strong, it's structured. That's really how I see a link. As I said, it tied everything together for me. Origin story, money blocks, pattern interrupters. That's her process. It works on every level of income. It's fun. It can be used singularly, or you can layer on layer on layer. And it even works with your 88-year-old mom. Yep. It takes time. It's probably taken me 4 or 5 years to see some of those, but it really does work. Stay open-minded. Process, step by step. Ramit Sethi's book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, told me exactly what I needed to do. And it's not that I hadn't tried any of those before, but again, it's all about it's all about timing. It's all about, and this is where Denise's book helped. It's all about helping the stuff that's up in your head, that's sabotaging you, that's helping identify those patterns and get them changes. Because if you aren't doing those, Ramit's book will not work. It totally won't. And again, I did it chapter by chapter, and it wasn't something I did over 3 weeks. I did it over about 6.5 months. I would do one chapter exactly as he said, and I would, see how that's worked. And I've had to restart it a couple of times. It's underpinned by Denise's work. And if I hadn't been working through those blocks, through my stories and my patterns and my sabotages, it would have been useless. Something that Ramit actually addresses in his newest edition of the book. Keep exploring. Stay curious. And I bet you're familiar with, if you're in North America, I'm sure you're familiar with the tax refund company or tax filing company, whatever you want to call them, H&R Block. The signs are bright green and black. Well, this next program has a story link to it. See, the founder of this program that I've incorporated into my system, her name is Barbara Stanny, and she actually used to be Barbara Huson, and she is the daughter of Mr. Huson, the H in H&R Block. And yes, she was a trust fund kid and lost it all. And I love Stu's stories of coming back from rock bottom. And I discovered that what she calls under-earning was something that most people, including me, struggled with. It's rampant in the dog industry. Rampant. It's like a nasty, nasty virus. It's like, and it's been one of my goals to help more people earn into their true value. So I'll give you an example. Every 6 weeks or so, 5 to 7 weeks, I get moment groomed, and it's something that I've never done with my other dogs before, but I wanted to do it with him because I really don't like grooming my own dogs. There's a lot of hair all over the place. It's not something that I do really well. And so I have a groomer for him, and she only takes clients by referral, and she charges way less than what she's actually worth. So I always tip well beyond the, 15, 20%. Most often it's 30% or more. And most recently, she sent me the request for the payment, and I sent her back, I think it was 32% higher. And she sends me a thing back and she says, that's a lot. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're worth that. So that's me helping people understand that they're under earning. She doesn't see that and she has a business too. So why am I talking, one of my goals to help people earn into their true value? Because one of the biggest causes of stress at work, stress in the business place, is feeling devalued and subsequently feeling disconnected, disengaged. And we need to learn how to ask for what we're really worth. We need to stop thinking that our value is somehow pegged to that ridiculous salary guide that industries put out. Each person is worth something different, and I don't know why. I'm sure I know there's a good reason why we had that, so people didn't have to think, and people didn't get their, let's call them knickers in a knot, because one person over here made more than they did, and they thought they were worth more. Well, they might well have been worth more. Step up and ask for what you want. And the last piece for me is one that I resisted. Yes, the professional accountant got stuck in the That's the way we do it. There can't possibly be another approach. Heck, you look at any formal financial statements, they even say generally accepted accounting principles. Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First. Imagine that. No making decisions that are solely based around shareholders' equity and EBITDA. What's that? Earnings before income tax and depreciable assets. What? And making every transaction profitable. Out of every piece of revenue, there is always profit. And spending from what's available. Life changes for the better when you are no longer codependent on your business. The stress of bank accounts fades away when it is self-managing with your oversight, when things are on autopilot, and when you've got or are getting your thinking right. Your patterns are not just yours. They are your business's too. Discover the sabotages in one, and you'll expose them in the other too. So I want to ask you to come and join me as we create breakthroughs and we navigate our way to profit, to a life without overwhelming worry, stress, and anxiety over money. I've got a couple of programs out there. Just click on any of the links on my regular page, but there's a lot more here. And my wish for you is that you take away something that today will encourage you to take the next step, to start building that bias for action and curiosity into your daily life. You already know that your thinking is what drives everything. So we created this new daily affirmation sent to you every day for 90 days that you can unlock every day with intention. Just sign up for free at debbiecolburn.com/unlock the day. Now here's my caveat before I leave. Please remember that affirmations are simply that. You cannot just rely on affirmations and think that money and all that sort of stuff is going to drop into your lap. You've got to be taking actions that are driven and focused on generating opportunity and revenue. When you do that, you have no idea how your world is going to change for the better and how you can get to what you really want to do. So we're here. We're at the end. Time for that question I ask everyone to ask themselves at the end of each episode. What is the best thing that could happen if you unlock just one thing in your life? Hey, if this podcast got you thinking, please make sure you're subscribed and share it with anyone who needs to hear this. The link is in the show notes, and please drop us a review on whatever podcast player that you're listening on, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, you name it. And make sure that you drop over to our website, debbiecolburn.com /links that's DEBBIECOLBOURN.com /links to get our brand new 7-day quick action guide and to check out what's coming up in 2022. And please make sure that you're following us on LinkedIn and on Instagram, just to keep you on your toes, as a slightly different name, at MS Debbie Colburn.